Hello, and welcome to the Thyroid Warrior Podcast. I'm Ebony, and I'm here as your wellness facilitator. I'm going to be sharing my experiences in managing Hashimoto's disease. I really hope that it'll help you on your personal journey. Keep in mind, however, this does not substitute for medical advice. It is only for your information and motivational purposes only. Now, let's get started. Hello friends, I'm going to start this episode off by reminding you, if you haven't already signed up for my live fatigue fighting webinar, you definitely want to make sure you're doing that. You can sign up by going to ebonycolina.com/fight fatigue. Now, I know this has been a very heavy series, but we're just going to keep diving in and digging and getting to that other side of feeling well. Now, this episode is very near and dear to me for a lot of reasons, which is why I titled the episode Attention and Emotional Deficits. Now, I want you to ask yourself this question: what is blocking my ability to heal? What are all of the things that I continue to focus on and allow to distract myself from really leaning in to the things that I need to do in order to get well and feel better? And when you think about this, so many of us are holding on to pain, both metaphorically and physically or emotionally. Now, what I want you to do is we're continuing on this work of really digging deep. Identify those things. So, for example, my mother. She holds on to so many things, my brother included. My brother and I were having a conversation one day about something that happened in the family, and he literally got so angry with me and said, "How do you not remember? How can you forget that? How can you not face that?" And I said, I'm sorry, but I was 13 years old when that happened. And I have no idea what you're talking about. I wasn't involved. I wasn't an adult. I wasn't processing any of what was going on. I just know that it sucked to be me at the time. And that event was surrounding my father's death. And he was and has been holding on to this grudge with my uncle for something that was beyond him at the time. And it still is, to be honest. But yet, almost 20 years ago, he's still holding on to anger. And what does that do? How does that manifest? Well, he's a very angry individual. It's very challenging for him to move on and move past things. And guess what? That blocks him from receiving so many opportunities because he just can't let go of that hurt and that pain. In my mom's case, she has fibromyalgia and a plethora of other health issues. But there are times when I was talking to her about something that was going on with me, and she completely took over the conversation. And the next thing I know, she was going off. And I started to just sit back and think, what is happening here? She too holds on to things, and even when I verbalize what I'm going through, because she hasn't allowed herself to deal with many of the things that we've been discussing in the last couple of weeks, it blocks her from really hearing what I'm going through, and she then kind of puts herself into that situation, and she begins to reflect on all of the things that have happened to her, and that then makes her incredibly bitter. Now, I love both my mother and my brother very, very much, but I had to realize as I got stronger that they were holding on to a lot of things that are keeping them from healing in many aspects of life. I recognized how heavy that made me, and I had to choose to break the cycle. And that is what I'm pushing you to do, because I want you to be able to show up for you, for your friends, for your family, And any other relationship that you decide that you want to partake in, I want you to be your best self. And that means identifying the things that you're holding on to. And so often, as I know this from personal experience, having an autoimmune condition, I feel like I have to constantly go above and beyond just to prove that I can do just as much as everyone else. I didn't honor that I needed to allow my body to rest and recover. I didn't honor the fact that I have some amazing gifts that only I have, but I was blocking the world from being able to see those things because I was just trying to stay busy and just continue to compete. And the sad part is I was only competing against myself. Oof, that hurt. It still hurts when I think about it because I realize how much time I wasted. And I really didn't feel better. And I kept feeling worse and worse and worse until I started to A, get therapy, and B, surround myself with people that were for me and that were really open to understanding this thyroid condition that I have and say, all right, well, you have that. How can we support you to feel better? What can I do to understand more? Now, I know I mentioned in a previous episode that you have to be able to be the one to explain that. But on the flip side of that, when you start to surround yourself with people that are for you and love you just as much as you love yourself, and you're able to then pour into them, it makes it so much easier to have that give and take in that relationship. And as we talked about last week, it's so easy to avoid facing something. It's easy to push those emotions back in the closet. But you know what happens when you keep just pushing things in the closet because you're trying not to let other people see them? That door eventually pops open and all of that junk falls out. And I've learned throughout my thyroid storms when I was having them that that's exactly what I was doing. When I was going through a lot of the issues that I was having, I was in New York, I was by myself, I went out there with no job, no nothing. And I was so stressed out because I was trying so hard to find a job and I got into some very bad situations. But thank God that I was able to just continue to work through those and give myself grace. I ended up finding an amazing internship thanks to my friend Jessica, and ultimately getting into a job, into a career path that I really do still enjoy. But it took a while. It took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of time rumbling through things and just rolling in the mud and the dirt and just screaming out at times, why is this happening to me? As I started asking that question of why is this happening to me, I turned it inward and I said, why not? What lesson am I going to learn from this experience that I'm currently going through? And again, I leaned into it. And on the other side of that, when I stopped asking why me, but what lesson am I to learn, things got so much better. Now I could focus on the fact that it took me a long time to find a position and I was just down and out and sad and depressed, but I had to choose, girlfriend, you need to find a way to get to where you're going. And I started tutoring and I realized how much I really loved it, and I stopped doing it before, but it helped me to be able to serve and give to someone else. And ultimately I decided to work with children that had learning differences. And it was so rewarding. And I actually continued to do that throughout my time being in New York. And I was able to use that lesson and those lessons that I was learning to help the children that I was tutoring. Because they had so many things that were stacked against them. And it, for me, was my responsibility to help encourage them and to give them funny stories, but lessons ultimately in the things that I was going through to show them that they could do it. And that's why I'm so grateful to continue to work through those emotional and physical pains that I have, because they really do help to serve someone else. And if none of you get anything out of this series, I hope that you will at least have started the process of looking at your life and recognizing that you deserve to be here. And it's your time to live your life out loud and on purpose. And with that, as a reminder, don't forget to sign up for the live series on fighting fatigue. And you can sign up at ebonycolina.com/fight fatigue. Take care. Okay, thyroid warriors, get out there and take things one step at a time. Remember, be great, reflect on your triumphs, and as always, be well. Take care.